Grizz just wrap up a 5-minute practice here in San Antonio. What'd you make of that, Ron?
Well, I think he wants to definitely give his veterans quality time off to recuperate and rest and not work them too hard. I think the film session was probably the most important thing in terms of figuring out adjustments between game 1 and 2. So you don't want to overload them. And you want them to be fresh for game 2.
It almost feels silly saying how do they win, because I'm not sure that's possible. How do they be more competitive?
Well, you know, they've got to have some key guys play better. I mean, Matt Barnes continues to tell me that he and Zebo have talked all through the night and most of this morning. So they realize it starts with them, and particularly Zach Randolph. I mean, let's talk about that. Since 2011, the Spurs have not allowed him to be an all-star power forward. And so they've talked about different ways to get Zach going, and that's putting him on the move and making him more of a playmaker. So as we well know, the Grizzlies have no chance if Zach can't get it done, both scoring the basketball and making the guys around him better.
And then the other little story today was Reggie Miller said that the TNT Crew could beat these Grizzlies. Most Grizzlies didn't comment about it. Dave Yeager said he didn't want to get into it. I will say Zach sounded genuinely offended. I mean, Zach was you know, he said this team has battled, and I do think maybe it was, I'm sure it was all in fun. Of course it wasn't fun, but it was interesting that there's an element of pride here that, you know, they don't want to be a joke.
Oh, yeah, that's always been the Grizzlies. I mean, this has been a season, let's face it. They lose by 30 on opening night. They get drilled by 50s 6 days later. And then they just recently lost by 49. So they have become a punchline, and that's not cool because they've worked their way out of that, being relevant and being, like you said, a prideful and competitive team. But it was fun. I mean, those guys are 50 years old.
We will. Grizzlies are nearly 50 years old. We'll be back at the TNT Center tomorrow night.